Yo, what's up? Islam fam.
Islam is.
Islam, peace fam, peace everybody. Yeah, we're just gonna talk about some stuff that I guess you could say some stuff that just came up. Some stuff that we're seeing in the news.
Stuff that's happening in
stuff
the ethers.
From a Moorish perspective, esoteric perspective, stuff that you're not gonna hear anybody else saying or talking about. So yeah, we'll get to that and we'll just build on that. And peace. Stay tuned. Okay. Don't go anywhere. Alright. Even if you don't hear anything, we're not dropping off. We'll be right back, alright? Islam fam.
Islamism.
Alright, so y'all see the topic. I hope that's not too far out there for y'all. Okay, we're going in on some stuff. Okay?
Some fun stuff.
Yeah, because it's a lot going on. Alright? Okay, cool. So, alright, there's more people in here. And as always, make sure you share this video. Okay? Share this with your friends and family, alright? Alright, the topic was saying interstellar objects detected entering the solar system, right?
Right.
Okay. And then it's saying the Moorish connection. So alright. What we're talking about basically was something I saw on Secure Team, where it was just a video where the guy was talking about Oumuamua, right? And check the other video out on here. It's probably popping up or gonna pop up on the screen real soon with Asir, the Duke of Tears, and like he hit on Oumuamua a little bit. Okay? And so for those that don't know, Islam, what's up? Peace to the Sheik. We see you, Gray L. Islam. So yeah, for the people who don't know about Oumuamua, never heard of it, that was a interstellar object, meaning it came from out of this solar system. Okay, and it came in here and it looked like a cigar-shaped type thing, like a cylinder object. All right, and when it came into the solar system, you know, let me show some pictures of it for y'all. When it came into the solar system, NASA wasn't really saying anything about it. Matter of fact, the only reason they really covered it to be real, 100% real, is because
all the people
were doing it.
Yeah.
People were covering it themselves. You know, power to the people. You had amateur astronomers, right, who were putting in work. And they were detecting this with their own telescopes. And so it got to the point where, you know, you have all these different people with their own YouTube channels. You know, you have some that have like millions of subscribers, like the Secure Team, and so they can't have like people who are amateur, you know,
outshining them and putting more information out there because they're the ones who's supposed to be, you know, the legitimate.
It's NASA.
Yeah.
So you can't outscoop NASA. So if they're talking about this stuff that they're really trying to cover up and not even give any light to, give any shine to, Then so they had to cover it. So then all of a sudden, like maybe like a week or so after, these other outlets on YouTube and stuff like that independently were talking about it. Then NASA and everyone, you know, they're officially coming out and talking about it, right? And trying to play it down, but at the same time they can't because of the spin that's already been created from the people. And so this, if you see that on the screen, this large, you know, cigar-shaped object was found, talking about how it's coming in. It's not, you know, it's an irregular shape. They don't see this in nature, you know, in this format, something this big, because I think it was several miles long or something. Like, it was huge cigar-shaped object moving through space, and it's not like, you know, a comet or anything that they could explain. And then it's coming in here and it's slowing down, speeding up, doing things that they really couldn't explain, right? And so they say that it went around the sun and left.
And then they say that there's 4 more.
Yeah, so before we get to that, though, there was a Harvard scientist who was saying how it could be of extraterrestrial origin. And there was, you know, other people saying this too as well. Then they'll bring out the Neil deGrasse Tyson and his, I think he clowned it, okay, which is messed up. But, okay, so they say it left the solar system in the story.
Everybody got a job
it's not over. It's not over, all right? Okay, come to find out that recently, okay, as in like just a few days ago, there was an article about two Harvard scientists have detected 4 more interstellar objects, and they're all cigar-shaped. Okay, just like Oumuamua.
Right.
They've detected them in the solar system.
So there's 5 of them, right? Don't we got 5 principles, Morris?
Right, and so they're with Oumuamua, they're like, oh, this is so rare, this is so weird, this is, you know, not something that we see all the time. This, you know, we never seen something like this in nature, so it could potentially be artificial, or even if it's not, they're like, this is just unique,
one of a
you know,
kind.
and it's coming from out of the solar system, coming in here, and this never happened before, never before. But now you got 2 Harvard University researchers find at least 4 known objects likely to have origins from outside our solar system, right? And then they have the quote here: at any given time, there are a few thousand trapped objects within the solar system. We do not know if they are comets, asteroids, or artifacts. Now, they know because of the shape of the objects. They give the names of them for potentially interstellar objects. And they're saying they're more than likely between Jupiter and Neptune, right? And that they could, when they come, you know, around the sun, they will pass through Earth's neighborhood. So they're going to come close to Earth. And it's saying in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, Harvard co-authors Amir and Abraham compared the orbital characteristics of theoretical high inclination objects to those of the centaurs, the most similar population of known asteroids. And so they're saying that, first they were saying that Oumuamua was just unique. There's nothing like it. And it, you know, it's weird. This doesn't happen often. Now they're saying we find that there should be hundreds of Oumuamua-sized interstellar objects identifiable by centaur-like object orbits, right? So at first they were saying Oumuamua was weird, never seen anything like that. Now they're saying there should be hundreds of Oumuamua-sized objects like this coming into our solar system, right? And so that's a big deal. Like this is from Forbes.com. They're not gonna, you know, put it in a proper perspective. All right. The authors note there should be at least 66 possible other interstellar objects in their calculations, right? And they're saying, they went from saying Oumuamua is so unique, it's weird, we don't see anything this shape, this size, you know, and coming in like this from, you know, from another star system or from outer space, and just coming in like this and moving like that. We don't see that. And especially with that shape. And now there's science saying there's 4 more that's been detected. And they're saying there could be hundreds surrounding us. And they're saying they expect there to be more. All right? Okay? And so, like, this is telling you without telling you. And as far as for Oumuamua, which NASA classifies as a highly elongated, rocky, cigar-shaped object with a somewhat reddish hue. And even in this Forbes article, it's got a little question mark after reddish hue, because they even said that they're detecting metal, or they believe that it's metallic, right? A metallic object. And it's saying that an upper limit, he sets an upper limit on Oumuamua size, which in turn implies a shiny surface, which is at least 10 times more reflective than a typical asteroid. And then the results are at odds with the properties of comets and asteroids in the solar system, are fully consistent with an artificial origin. And this is what one of these scientists said, right? So they're talking like, hey, this thing could be metallic, and from another, they know it's from another star system. It's huge, it's long, possibly metallic, shinier than the normal asteroid. This is unique. We probably never see something like this again. Boom, there's 4 more. And now we think there's hundreds. Okay, so something's arriving.
There's thousands.
Something's coming here. And they're not going to tell you what's coming here, right? Not going to come out and tell you. A few years ago, there was this guy. Well, actually, this guy named Norman Bergrun, right? What does it say? He was at Ames Research Laboratory. He said he worked at NASA, Lockheed Martin, and all this stuff, right? And so he's a scientist. And nobody's come out to like debunk him or say that he's a fake or anything like that. All right. So years ago, he wrote this book, like in the 80s, I think, called Ringmakers of Saturn. Right. And in this book, you can get the PDF online. In this book, he talks about what you see right here in this YouTube clip, where it says 7-foot tall black people from outer space. And so he's being interviewed by this lady who I guess covers UFOs and stuff like that. And so when he's talking to her, he's talking about how they use the Hubble telescope and they have like high definition pictures and things that they don't release to the public. That's like, classified, that he was able to access because of his position. And that he saw long, huge spaceships like Oumuamua and all this stuff that's, suddenly appearing now. And they were out there, like in the rings of Saturn. And that they saw some of the beings that were, in these craft. And he's all talking about how they were huge black people. And he goes in on this interview talking about how they were just dark skinned. They were undeniably black people, basically. Okay. And he says they're like 7 feet tall, 9, 10 feet tall, potentially. Like they could tell the size proportion of how big the ships were. They knew the ships were huge, and they knew these people were huge. And they're out there, and he's saying that he thinks that maybe these beings created the rings that are around Saturn. And who knows what these ships do? They're huge, right? Okay? And so he's saying this in this interview. And the way he talks about it, too, it's almost like if you've seen the movie 2001, The Space Odyssey, they had these big black megaliths, these big things that are found out in space. And in the movie, they show that these things like created life. Like they turned, I think in the second movie, they turned Jupiter into a sun, right? And so this guy is talking about these ships, these crafts, kind of like in comparison to that 2001 movie. Like that's how he sees it. And he also talks like he kind of fears it, And that's what you get too from the that book, The Ringmakers of Saturn, right? And the photographs and stuff that's in here don't, then there's nothing impressive to me. I mean, it's the same type of stuff you usually see on UFO channels and all that. But what's incredible is just the stuff that he's saying, the stuff that he mentions, and the fact that he has the credentials to back it up. And it's like this guy's so old. He doesn't care. He
has nothing to lose.
Yeah, so he can come out and say things that maybe he wouldn't have said. Because it wasn't like he was saying it back then. He wasn't saying this 30, 40 years ago. He's coming out now and letting it be known, right? And so they're saying this. And once again, the thing like with NASA, they wouldn't have put this out there, okay? They wouldn't have put this out there if
it wasn't for YouTube and people with their own technology and, you know, the information that, you know, they could just capture these pictures and, you know, spread the word. And it's like, they can't stop the people. You know, the revolution will be televised.
Yeah,
on
like
social media.
That's one of the things. Like with the internet, okay, they can put so much information out there that people are confused, and you know, there's so much misinformation and stuff out there that, you know, some of the information is too much information, right? It's so much that you can't really do anything practical with it. But on the flip side, there's less control. Okay, they can't just have a stronghold on the truth and things like that, like they may have been able to do in the past. So that's over. So the truth is out, and it's like we're thinking about this stuff, and the more that we think about it, the bigger of an influence we have on what we see in this physical reality. Okay, and you know, the thing is, like with let me bring this back up. When you see the stuff like this right here, okay, all the UFO stuff, right? They're not covering anything from our perspective. They're not talking about any of that stuff. Okay, it's even rare to get something like this with this guy talking about he saw, you know, these huge black men on it. Like it's very rare. I mean, within the whole UFO community, there's a big thing with people getting abducted and having these experiences where they say they have implants and all types of things. But for the most part, okay, something that people are not going to talk about or mention is that it's not people like us. It's not Moors. It's not really Asiatics experiencing this and going through that. All right? Okay? As if it was, you know, I think they would shine more light to it. But since it's mostly people of European descent experiencing this stuff, they don't even talk about it. They leave race out of it completely. All right? And I mean, there's definitely something to that. And I mean, people are getting tortured. They're talking about people. Some people just disappear. There was a movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind where they had this dude. His name was Travis something. He's in the woods. He's like, they're cutting down trees, and his buddy sees him get taken up into a ship, and they bounce, and he disappeared. They had a manhunt for him. You can look it up. They actually had a manhunt for them, and they couldn't find him. And I don't know how long he was gone, but like eventually the dude just, I guess, calls his family one day from like a gas station or something, and he's naked, and they coming in. And then he finally, you know, recalls what happened to him. Okay, and so that's the short version of it. But dude wound up being on Jerry Springer, right? And he was on there with a brother named Riley Martin. Okay, and Riley Martin's, you know, UFO story was completely different, okay, than that dude's. Like Riley Martin, you know, was talking about how he also had been having experiences since he was a young child, as far as seeing spaceships, and then eventually he had contact with the beings. They took him on a ship. They told him that, you know, that he comes from an ancient lineage that's connected to them. They gave him information. You know, there was all types of positive interchanges, you know, taking place, right?
He had fun. He enjoyed his time. Like.
He hooked up with some of the alien women. You know, this is like, for real, this is a story told. And so, like, he was on Jerry Springer with that dude, and this was like years ago. This was like probably in the 90s or something. And so he was on there with the Travis dude, like somebody just said, Fire in the Sky. They made a movie about that Travis dude. So he's on there with him, and like there's a few other white people who are on there, and they're all like, they've all been terrorized and tortured by, you know, they claim they've been tortured by aliens, basically, right? And you know, getting abducted, and they had horrible experiences, and they were actually angry at him on the show, on fake Jerry Springer. They're getting angry at a fellow UFO.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, guy? He's like, yeah, and it's like, and then the audience too, they're all turning on him. They're mad at him. They're trying to say he's fake. Like his story is any faker or crazier sounding than theirs.
Right.
Just like, even for us to even talk about this, for most people it probably sounds crazy. But like, okay, so you guys are all up here talking about your UFO experience, and you're gonna try to turn on him to say that his is crazy sounding. Like what kind of mess is that? So that actually took place, and we saw that, and that's what happens a lot. Like there was another guy too, named a Prophet Yahweh, right? Let me pull this up, make this bigger for y'all. So anyway, Prophet Yahweh was from Memphis, right? And he said, and this is like years ago, early 2000s. Prophet Yahweh used to call UFOs like word. He used to say that he mentally made contact with beings who were like us, who were Moors or Hebrews or whatever you want to call it. They were us. They were Asiatics, and that he made contact with Yahweh, and then Yahweh lived on another planet, okay, and that he commanded all of these ships and everything. And so Prophet Yahweh used to actually go out and like he would get down and meditate or pray, whatever you want to call it, and after he would do it, UFOs would come out, and he used to always videotape it and put it online, right? So this is like back in the day before all this YouTube stuff was popping, and so like most people probably never even heard of him. Okay, so he would videotape it, and so like there was even one like you can see right here where he summons a UFO for ABC News, right? And so like I think he was like out in Arizona or something like that, so the sky is like clear out there, like you could see for miles. And so he'd come out there, and they actually had the news come out there to like try to debunk him. Okay, but the thing is, like the guy who goes out there with him, he's thinking, this is goofy, it's gonna be fake, it's just gonna be like a little fluff story that's just gonna be funny, and that's it. But they wind up having to treat it like a real investigation, because they go out there, they want to do it random, so he couldn't like release balloons or something like that. They pick a random spot, call him out there at the last minute. He gets down and does his thing, and then later, they look up and they see UFOs, and they actually captured it on tape during the broadcast. And so they're like looking at it completely differently, right?
And he's been doing this. He's been doing this for years in Memphis.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he's just a regular brother from Memphis. Like, he's not all sophisticated and all this. He's just like, doing his thing. But the stuff that he's saying, while it might sound crazy to somebody who doesn't know any better, it's like the stuff that he's saying is actually in alignment with the stuff that's going on up here and out here. And so, like, if he was of European descent,
right,
and he's able to come out here and pray or meditate or whatever, and UFOs come out, like this dude would be having seminars. He would be banked up. He would be having seminars. He'll be out there in Sedona, Arizona, out there. What's that mountain in California? Mount Shasta. He'll be out there in all the places racking up. He'll be with all the big time people who's in that field doing it and getting paid and known and respected. Even though this stuff sounds crazy, he would be getting respected in that lane. But since he was a brother, seen out there as obscure, there was a few people who, came to him to, try to learn it or observe it and all. But I mean, like, seriously, like, the dude was doing it. It was legit. As far, even like from their perspective, with them trying to, put him on the spot on the news, and it happened, right? And then some of the footage that he had, like, I don't even know if it's still on YouTube. Like, I think his channel's still up. And look at this. He didn't even have that many subscribers. He had like 2,000 something. Some of the videos that he had, like some of the footage he got, like you could see like metallic objects up there, right? And some of the footage was good. Right. And so he was just getting out there and doing it. And I mean, I think he had a public access channel too, right? Okay, so I
mean, this is interesting stuff.
Live Obama UFO TV special.
If you're conscious and you're woke or whatever, and you are observing what's going on around us, past, present, and future, you will start to make the connection of why we're making this video. Because it's like everything that we do as a group of people consciously, whether we're raising our vibration, whether we're, into hip hop, or, no matter what it is that we choose to do, if enough of us are doing it, it is going to come to pass. Like, it's going to come into this reality as, something greater.
Yeah, so basically, like she was saying, I mean, wherever we're at mentally, that has effect on all of this stuff that's going on, always. And so, even what the brother Seer was saying too, when he was on here, pretty much the same thing. Like, we made it possible for there to be an Obama, for there to be all of these things that are happening. Okay, and if you have right now, like I was saying in the class that we had on Sunday, the guy who was a representative, I think, in Virginia. His name was Henry something. I'm gonna pull this out and get the exact quote. But you had an agenda that was sanctioned by the government to prevent light from entering the Negro's mind. Okay, you had the Negro Law of South Carolina, and that's just the most popular one. But you had pretty much this occurred all over the country to get us into a false position, a status that had nothing to do with us, that disconnected us from who we truly are, right? And so you had the guy Henry Berry, member of the Virginia House of Delegates in 1832, when he's speaking to to his constituents about the abolition of slavery, and he was actually a slaveholder, okay, and he was trying to let them know that they needed to free the slaves, not because he's trying to help us or anything, because they were slaves. There were uprisings. There was an uprising in Southampton that scared the hell out of them. And that's what he's trying to tell them, like, look, he said, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work would be complete. They would then be on a level with the beasts of the field, and we should be safe. But they can't completely do it. But he's letting them know we have almost extinguished the capability for light to enter the slave's mind. So you don't have to worry about them. We don't have to keep them in physical bondage. We can free them and still subjugate them, okay? Because they've cut us off from who we were. They had us under Negro and colored, African American, black, and that has you in a mind state where you began in what, the 1800s, the 1700s. You don't really go back anywhere. You have no origin, okay? And so they created your story of who you are, and that disconnected you from your forefathers, from your ancestors, right? That disconnected you from the infinite, okay? That disconnected you from the interstellar aspect of it too as well, right? With the whole Oumuamuas and everything.
Call from Gino.
That disconnected you from all of this by not by getting you to accept a label, a false label that somebody else placed on you, okay? And so by them trying to shut out the light from entering your mind, that controls your mind state. That has you at a level where you don't even truly know who you are. You don't know that you're connected to these crafts, all right? You don't know that you're connected to all of this. So Oumuamua, whatever you want to call it, right? But what's happening now, and what's been occurring for years now, all right? There's been a rise in consciousness. We're throwing off the labels. We're knowing who we are. We're knowing that being a Moor, see, some people get confused with the whole Moorish aspect, and they're thinking, okay, only going to Islam and Morocco, only going to, and they're only thinking of Morocco, like where Casablanca and all that stuff is right now in North Africa. They're only thinking about, okay, Spain will give you that, and they're thinking of that. They don't know. They're not thinking that it goes even further back than that. They're not thinking of what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought to us, where he's telling us that, okay, in the dominions of Egypt, all right, and he's telling you how far it spread, and where he's telling you that the how far the capital, the empire, the dominion of Africa or Mexum, how far it spread. He's letting you know that it was basically the entire world. For the most part, what we call Africa, Mexum, would have spread all the way to North, South, and Central America. And we would have been here since before the split that caused the Atlantic Ocean. He's connecting you back to a time that goes prehistory. All right? Prehistory. And so that's the mind state that many of us are in. Who knows how many of us are in it? It's probably millions of us right now that are conscious of this, right? That's causing a shift. All right, so before they see one Oumuamua and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't see these that often. This is so rare. This is so, what? There's 4 more. Yeah, I think there's hundreds of them. We're surrounded by them, okay? And they're coming now, all right? And it's all coming online because we're coming online. And it's just like she was saying earlier, even though she stepped out, that, look, once we're lighting up, here and there, you know, when you come on consciousness, you're online, you're in the proper mind state, boom, they can see us. They can detect us. You know, we were the lost children of Babylon. We didn't know who we were. They didn't know where we were at. Now they see us because they are us. That's us. All right? If there's even any beings on these crafts, that's us. All right. And trust me, the people who are getting briefed about this stuff, who have a better idea of what it is because of intelligence, they're terrified. They're scared. They don't know what's going to happen. It's all up to us. And all this stuff is coming to pass now because of us. All right. We're online. Not on the internet. We're online. Really online. You know, the internet is based off of our own mind. All of this stuff is. Everything that works is based off of us. It's a rudimentary system based off of us. It's just like, okay, they need telescopes and radio devices to try to make contact and do all of these things. We don't need all that. Prophet Yahweh was doing it with his mind. Prophet Yahweh didn't have any, you know, big following. And he wasn't making a bunch of money. He wasn't doing it for the money. All right? And nobody knew about him. Why? Because he was one of us. They want to stamp that down. They didn't even want people like us thinking that you could possibly contact something, anything. They didn't even want you thinking on that level. All right? And that's real talk. They didn't even want you thinking on that level. Okay? And that brother, yeah, you know, maybe like he wasn't charismatic or whatever, so he didn't have a huge following. But nah, it wouldn't even have mattered. Trust me, if he was white, quotation marks, he would have had a ton of followers. He would have been getting bank. And they would be talking about him. You know, maybe not on the mainstream news, but he would have a following because they created a lane for themselves within the whole UFO community to get paid. You know, they've even created lanes like you see that this one guy named Stephen Greer, where he gets whistleblowers to come out, people who work for NASA and the military, to come out and speak about UFOs and stuff like that, and they can come out and get paid. You know, they have their whole lecture circuit and stuff, and they can put books out and videos and stuff like that. They weren't trying to put Prophet Yahweh on. They weren't even trying to investigate what he was doing just to see if he's serious or not, if he's the real deal. They weren't even trying to talk about it. They didn't want to give any light to that at all. Even if what he was doing turned out to be something that could benefit them all, they'd rather shut it down. Because you must prevent the light from entering the Negro's mind.
And why is that everyone's goal? That, you know,
they fear that. They fear obliteration if we know who we are and we're, you know, exercising our power, doing us. You cease to exist because then you have nothing to offer. You know?
Then it's game over. simulation over. But
Right.
anyways, what I wanted to say before I had to disappear for a few minutes, it is so important for us to all just, love each other and love ourselves enough to understand that there's a bigger picture. It's not just what we are doing every single day, all day, our regular routines, our work, our cleaning, our, school. All that stuff is so mundane. And that's why it's taking so long for something big to happen. Like we're constantly waking up, Joe Blow from down the street who, don't care about nothing, just getting high, partying. Yeah, all of a sudden he's talking about, nationality and chakras and, like it's messed up what happened to us in our history. And it's like, whoa, it's interesting and it's beautiful and it's amazing because with all the distractions that's around us, we're not supposed to be talking about this because they have eliminated the light from us, and the drugs and the alcohol and the party and distractions, all the stuff that's constantly flashing in front of us, subliminal messages, all this, logos and McDonald's and all this stuff happening all the time. We're not supposed to be on this level right now. We're not supposed to.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel exactly what Universal Moore said in the chat. Shoot, I can't even talk about my experience, but like it's been mind blowing.
Right, and we know it's real, and we're spiritual beings. And as soon as you start getting on your stuff, getting on your magic, you will realize that you can go within and you could tap into anything. You can do anything. You can go anywhere. You are not limited to this meat body. You're not limited to your situation, your current situation. Like your thoughts are things. Anything that we are willing is going to be here, as fast as we want it to. The higher our vibrations, the faster things come into our existence. And, we're just here to remind you about that. Like, this is it.
Word.
If we want it to be it. Now, if you want to go back to sleep and, focus on, negative things and what the president is doing and what this person is doing and not focus on you and what you're supposed to be doing, it ain't going to happen for you. It just won't. But you can't stop somebody else from doing their thing if they really on it. Connect to that source.
Yeah, and just like if you want to focus on what Nicki Minaj is doing, what Meek Mill or somebody's doing, all these things are just distractions to keep us occupied. They want to occupy your mind, okay? Because the minute we just on us and doing us, all of this stuff could come together quickly. Just like the people out there, people that wanna make things happen. We're, like I was saying in the previous video, that we're not really at that level yet. We don't really have our society up and strong and structured like it needs to be yet. We can do that way faster. Okay, all right.
Definitely.
So a lot of this stuff is distractions,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's just the ant trying to throw stones at the elephant just to keep us occupied. They're trying to keep us distracted, keep us here, keep us here, because maybe when we stop thinking about this stuff, anything that's supposed to be against us ceases to exist.
Yeah, it all goes away because all is mind. Whatever's in our mind, because we're the chosen ones, whatever's in our mind is what exists. And if it's not in our mind, it doesn't exist anymore. And that's why, the stuff our ancient ancestors, all that stuff that they did and was doing, we're doing it still right now, today. We're still doing it because all is mind. We are our ancestors. We are, the pyramid builders. We are the space travelers. We are all of that.
Yeah, we might need to get Universal Moore on here and the Houthi Ali. We need y'all to come up here and tell what happened. maybe I'll share my experience too.
That'll be dope.
Yeah, my stuff, man. I can't talk about it because it was cool, but it's crazy, man. Y'all not ready for that. But
And especially like if you was initiated in any of the, you know, mystery systems, you know, throughout the world, like we all have experienced, you know, something of extraordinary measures, and it's beautiful when you can actually openly talk about things with people who understands because they've been through it too. But like to regular people who's not on that level, like that's too much information, and you know they haven't been through their rituals yet, so you know you have to give everybody time to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, like, with all this stuff, you know, not to be all way out, far out there, you know, sounding crazy or whatever, but like, it's true, you know, like what they're saying. They're not from here. Hundreds could be surrounding us. It's true, and like they basically they're detecting all these things because we're waking up, okay? Because we're thinking about it, and if we want it to be bigger than it is, it will be. All right, it's all tied to our mind. Everything is tied to our mind. There's no coincidence that they're seeing things that they thought were rare, and you'll never see it again. And now they're seeing them, and there's tons of them. All right, and it's all coming here. It's us. We're online. We're connected. Once we know that we are connected to the ancient, to the infinite, okay, to the interstellar, to all of this, you know, it all comes together, and that's all it really takes. Okay. So I would say, you know, for, you know, practical use with this information, because we don't want to just talk about it, you know, for this to be practical and useful for you. All right. Okay. What everybody out there needs to do, okay, is to get on your job. All right. And when I say that, like, especially with the nationality thing, what I was saying in the other video, nationality isn't about paperwork. It's not about filing paperwork. That may be a portion of it, and especially if you're doing it outside, you know, of the temple, like by yourself, you're out here on your own, okay? But that's just a portion of it. You know, what it's really about is changing your mindset, you know, the way that you move, all right? And doing it collectively with your people, okay? And that's where the change really occurs, okay? And if we do us, all of this stuff comes online, all right? Things that you thought were against you come to serve you. Okay? And that's how it works.
Islam. And I don't know if you guys ever heard of the book, the Black Root Science. There's a Moor who like redid it. It says the Moor Root Science. And like this information, like it resonated with us years ago because it made sense. And plus, like we had access to one of the brothers who put this out, you know, and like talking to him, he's just full of wisdom. And
yeah, they put a version called Moorish Science,
right? And just the information that's in here, if you're not familiar with it, just check it out, you know, and you can kind of see how all this is coming out to play, because like we're connected. The original people on this planet is connected to the planet, you feel me? And the planet is alive. The planet communicates with other planets, and the planets that's surrounding this planet also communicates as a collective. It's like, you know, they're like councilmen. Okay, they communicate, and then, you know, it goes off to other, you know, universes or whatever. So like the same thing that we do on our social levels, you know, with our families and stuff, this is happening, you know, intergalactically, you know, in space, in the universe. So everything, like just like everything that's in your body, is all the elements that's on the planet is found inside of you, and also found, you know, in outer space. So I'm just trying to connect these things to you. The as above, so is below, as within, so is outside, all that stuff. And then you can see that since there is a connection, however we feel, whatever we're thinking, if the vibrations is in accordance, is in tune, it will satellite, you know, to other places and other beings that are like us, that feels what we're saying, how we're feeling, and, you know, they'll come to check it out. So
like she was saying, like there's they actually confirmed there's magnetic, like electromagnetic tubes that connect the Earth to the sun, and if they're sending something back and forth, right? It's communicating back and forth, right? So when there's a solar flare, and then you've got fires and earthquakes or whatever occurring here on the Earth is in distress, the sun is responding, and it's like this all over the solar system, and this is happening constantly all the time, right? So it's not all HARP, it's not all them, you know, they're trying to destroy it, they're doing this and that. A lot of this stuff is out of their control, and you're giving them too much credit if you're thinking
everything
like that.
They do is on a small scale. Like, the energy, whatever they can do, is limited. You know, they need us to do certain things, and that's why there was a Obama in you know, as president, because they needed that melanin in the seat. Because as soon as Obama became president, let me tell you something, we wasn't even in North America. The people there were so happy. It's like, this is not.
It was a worldwide celebration.
Like, what's going on?
Worldwide, the people were rejoicing.
It's just a symbolism that somebody with melanin, it makes other people with melanin happy. Okay.
All over the world, like in other countries, like we were seeing, they're showing clips of George Bush fumbling. Like when Obama came in, they were showing the clips of people throwing the shoe at Bush and him ducking, showing him trying to open the door and he couldn't open it. And they were showing him messing up, not being able to open the door, not, you know, and all these symbolic things happening, and they're celebrating Obama coming into office.
Right.
It's not about what Obama did, okay, actually his policies, no. It's about symbolically.
That's
us,
right.
the Moorish Americans rising up, coming into power, and everybody was celebrating and happy about that. And just like we were saying with these things, like with NASA confirming that the Earth and the sun are connected through electromagnetic tubes. What did the prophet tell you? What's in the Holy Quran? And that's why you people out there who are just getting the information from the internet, who are saying, oh, you don't need the prophet and all this stuff, get it, do it, okay? Because in there, in the Holy Quran, it tells you that we're all connected by tubes. We're all connected by, we have like an umbilical tube. We're all tied and connected to everything. Everything. All creatures, great and small, the suns, the moons, all of these things, all of the planets. We're connected to all of these things. And they've detected the tubes, you know, connecting these on that level. And so like we're all connected. This is great. These things, these objects that are coming in here, we're connected to that. We have no reason to fear or, you know, anything. And by us acknowledging this and coming into this information, or not even coming into it, returning to who we truly are, okay, it's a big deal. And that's why all of this is happening right now, because we're here. And that's what we've been here to do. If you want to look us up, we put out videos a long time ago called The 144,000, had YouTube and all that stuff up. And I'm, you know, not saying like YouTube's, we don't do this for the internet, you know, we live off of the internet, but I'm just saying it to say that, like, we're connected to this. All of you are. All right. And that's why we're on this, and that's why these things are happening now at this time. Okay. All right. And, you know, every once in a while, things like this slip out, this show, you know, it just proves that the prophet, okay, really was an Egyptian adept. And for him to be an Egyptian adept, that means he's dealing with the sciences from the ancient mystery system. Who are the Moors? Why are the Moors important? Why do they matter? Because we are the caretakers of this knowledge and information from our ancient societies. We used to have a worldwide civilization. We hit on that in some other videos on here where we're showing the pyramid that they found in Ecuador, with the 13 steps. It's just like the one on the dollar, got the Eye of Horus at the top. Why are they finding this in Ecuador? You know, why does it have a script on it that's been found all over the world? Okay? All right? This is us. We were those Moors. Okay? So anyone watching this, because there was somebody on another video that was coming from Morocco in northern Africa, and they're like, who are you? Why are you guys saying? That's why we're those Moors, dude. We are those Moors. I'm not saying that I'm you. We're those Moors who were all over the world, who built pyramids in Japan. You know, they got pyramids off the coast of Japan, who built pyramids all over the world. Okay, we're the ones that send these things that they're seeing up here, Oumuamua and all this stuff. Okay, we're those Moors.
Just listen to the name, like,
we build planets.
Oumuamua. Like, really?
All right.
It'd be more obvious, like.
And that's how come we can have a prophet who comes to us in the 20s, you know, when no one was talking about this stuff, and especially within our community, and he's bringing the mystery system to you, right. Direct to you, letting you know in this point in time when most of our people was deaf, dumb, and blind, locked into Christianity or something like that, thinking that, hey, he's letting you know, nah, we're connected to everything. We're the ancient of ancient. Okay, we are the civilization builders and creators. Been over here since before all of this stuff happened. All right, going back, who knows how long, right?
Time never was when
exactly.
Man was not.
Okay, and we are connected to everything. Some things that they're just now starting to confirm with what's that stuff called? Their new religion, their science religion.
Scientology.
Nah. Stuff that. Astrophysics is not astrophysics, but I can't even think right now. Quantum physics.
So what the bleep do we know?
Yeah, now they're starting to prove the stuff that a man brought to us in the 20s. Okay, now they're starting to understand it. Okay, so I'm just sharing this to say that that's how we're connected. That's why we had to do this right now. That's why we're connected to the interstellar things that are going on, because we are interstellar. All right. And that's how come it's going to get even more weird and crazy, because we're coming online. All right. And you, just like this stuff with the Mandela effect and all these things going on where people are starting to experience alternate realities. Okay. These other people, they have to build machines and things to do it. And even the machines are based off of us. One of the guys who has one of these quantum computers, he's explaining how really it is just a big empty box, and in the center of it, they have like a big black box that is like, you know, beating like a heartbeat, you know? And even this stuff is based off of us. They have to base things off of us and our pineal gland and things like this, just to do something that we can do just by
going to sleep, meditating,
dreaming. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we don't have to worry about anyone else. All we have to do is us. Return to your forefathers' ways. That's it.
Islam. And why was there a Henrietta Lacks? Why wasn't that story about, you know, Becky Whiteman? You know?
Yeah.
Why did they need to go and, you know, get all the organs and, you know, make all that stuff from Henrietta Lacks's DNA and, you know, cells and all that stuff? Because Becky don't have it in her body. You know? That's just truth.
Exactly.
But, you know, thoughts become things. And that's what we're just, you know, always drilling. Like, your thoughts are your life. Everything that you're thinking, everything that, you know what I'm saying, like, set your goals in order. You know? Cleanse your body, your temple. You know? Become pure, clean. You know, healthy. That's what we're talking about. You know, clear those thoughts and focus them on the next level. You know, because we're going into the 5th dimension, and some people aren't. You know, who wants to be stuck here with Tom and Becky when you could be, you know, with Sharif and Nefertiti? You feel me? Like, come on. Like, we need you on one accord. Think about these things we're talking about. Like, you know, our ancestors, they built the pyramids and they went to Sirius. You know, they want to die down here. Yeah.
Word. And so, like somebody asked if maybe I share my experience, like asking if I was a contactee. Like,
in a
look,
book.
Yeah, because it's like some things you shouldn't talk about, and then, you know, especially if you receive information or anything, like, you know, everything's not for the internet. So, you know, that's it on that. But we just really wanted to share this and let you guys know what's going on from the proper perspective, because we know the media is not going to cover it like this. You know, I'm thinking this is going to be probably getting talked about, you know, on TV, if it's not being talked about right now. All right, 4 more objects, and then there's cigar-shaped objects, just like Oumuamua, even though they said that was so unique, we would never see something like that again. You know, that they've never seen anything like that. They didn't have a category for it. But now they got 4 more. And now they're saying there's hundreds of them surrounding us.
And another thing to all our family out there, Moors, don't be scared. Like, shed that fear. Whatever, like, you know, the whole Christianity thing, the whole religious thing is to keep you from thinking and, you know, being courageous and, you know, living your dreams. Like, don't fear, you know, don't fear the unknown. Don't be scared of what this could be. Like, all the stuff that's been put into your mind as children, and, you know, all this scary stuff, you know, they made you to be scared of stuff and fearful. That was part of taking the light from you, you know, because, like, as long as you have fear, you know, that drowns out the love, you know, what could happen.
All right, like, that's a big part. Like, you know, like she was saying, it's basically over. Okay, we got it. We already won. There's nothing anyone else can do about it. And the only thing keeping things out of our favor, or keeping things from, you know, being where we want them to be at, would be us, you know, believing that we're trapped, you know, or us buying in, you know, to the fear. Okay, and maybe that's why every now and then they have to go ahead and kill one of us, you know. And they I mean, who better to get to do the job than to get a trained killer, somebody who's already trained in law enforcement, good shooter, to come in and to kill someone, you know? Kill two birds with one stone. You got people like Rockefeller that I guess just passed away, who had like 8 or 9 heart transplants. Where's he getting these hearts from?
Right.
You know?
Not
So
his
you
family.
find somebody that's a match, they melanated, boom, you need that kidney, take them out, okay? And you get to cause fear, and you get a bunch of our people crying.
Emotions. And that's another thing. Control yourselves, your emotions, all the stuff that you're putting out on your social media. You know, everybody knows everything about you, and that's not always good, right? We don't need to know how you feel at the moment when you're angry or when you're sad, or, you know, when you're having problems going on. It's like, calm down, you know. You have to go within with that stuff, because people are looking at you and they're thinking that you're unstable, you know, and that's not a good thing, because thoughts are things. You don't want these negative thoughts on you, you know. A lot of us can always shed that stuff so quickly, so then, you know, you'll feel everything around you going down, and it's supposed to be the opposite direction, you know. That's another thing. Stay on your mind game.
Yeah, that's true. So that's, like I was saying earlier, that's, everything's not to be put out on the internet or even shared with people, you know, that you know, outside of your own home or outside of your own head. Some of this stuff, you know, you're not supposed to be out here putting on blast, okay? And so that's really all I wanted to say on this topic. I mean, like, you know, I know a lot of people probably haven't heard of this yet, and I don't know if it's going to pick up steam and get covered or not, but, you know, we had to talk about it and put the proper Moorish spin on it, Moorish perspective, okay? And do you have anything else to say?
No, just love yourselves, love one another, and practice Islamism, because Islamism is peace. Islam.
All right, peace. Peace, everybody.